Hi everybody, and welcome to the Games Outcast PAX special. I guess this isn't technically episode 3.
No, this is not. This is the special where I talk like I'm some sort of weird, altered, like Bryden.
Yeah, you're sounding pretty rough right now, Brian. Long days for you. It's the end of day 2 of PAX for us, and we've done a bunch. I've played a fair amount of games. What have you done, Bryden?
I've worked at a booth with developers, Clever Plays, showing off the game Leap of Fate, and with Evolve PR, we're working with a handful of other developers at the show, so that's been a lot of fun. Not a lot of playing, but a lot of meeting awesome people playing the games, and that's been pretty neat. I have some games to chat about, but I'll also kind of let you take the floor of that, and then I'll ask you some hot questions, as I am a consumer that is not getting the opportunity to see this stuff, so I am just like anybody else listening to this potentially.
Yeah, so the first game I'll talk about is one that I was actually pretty excited for this year, is Rainbow Six Siege. So that's the one where it's very focused on like a squad, and you go in and you can destroy the walls and hunt terrorists. Terror Hunt is back. And I was really excited for this game, and the demo left me a little... like I cooled off from the game a little bit. So I thought that the destructible environment would be really cool, like the ability to just take out a wall and go through. But like that is still pretty cool, but it didn't set itself apart enough, I found.
Did you play the alpha? Were you part of any of the earlier stuff?
Not a part of the alpha.
Your first time actually playing the game was
my first time playing it. And we played Terror Hunt, so it was me and Mike, who's at PAX with me, and 3 randoms. We went in and we hunted some terrorists, and we had to defuse 2 bombs. And we had one practice round before our real round began, and because there was like a scoring thing where you could win some bullshit or some shit.
Some bullshit. That's pretty much PAX. Like,
that's pretty much PAX.
Just people yelling, going like,
"You
"Win
played our
some
game! Take our stuff!
We have all this trash.
Pins."
We're both looking at the audio right now. It just went up in a terrible way.
So anyways, I was playing that, and like the immediate thing I did is I was a guy who had a sledgehammer to go through walls, right? So I just walked up to a fucking window, and the guy there's 5 people, and we have mics on so we can chat as a team. And there's a 6th dude who works for the game and is just like helping us explain it. And he's like, "You guys should probably stick as a squad." I just roll up to a fucking window and smash that shit in, jump in, and then I kind of wait for the team because I didn't see any people immediately. But as I played that practice round, I wasn't really blown away. So going through walls is pretty cool, but it's like it doesn't set itself apart enough, because like Battlefield kind of does that, right? And they've been doing it for a while.
I was on the Skilled Gaming podcast talking a little bit about Rainbow Six Siege, and I think one of the interesting things we were talking about was like it was originally coming out in October, and one of the things I had going for it in regards to like first-person shooters was that it was going to be before some of that kind of fall madness. Like obviously Halo was coming out before. But I really believe that a lot of people are going to be buying Battlefront just because of the Star Wars. Like, it's going to be a Star Wars video game, but it's also going to be a Star Wars video game when there's going to be
a movie.
Just all this marketing going for Star Wars throughout the fall. So I think that game's going to do really well. And a game like Rainbow Six is obviously going to go to a different market than that inside the first-person shooter market. But that's a very, like, it's not a super small market, but it is a smaller market than what you might be able to get otherwise.
It is a more hardcore audience. Because like you can do things like you can, even on the console version, you can lean around corners and things like that, and you can, like I had this little drone that I could send under doors, which was kind of fucking useless because we were playing a 5v5 match. There's nowhere to hide. This is a very small house. If I do that, I'm like, can't even see myself for like 30 seconds. Fuck that. So anyways, I get shot, and I'm kind of like, I had separated from the group because I do that. And I had kind of gone up the stairs to like the 2nd level. I get shot, I get knocked down, and like no one comes to save me. And I'm like, okay, that's fine, whatever. We're playing a PAX demo. So we finish our practice round. We start the next round, and when someone else gets knocked down, I realize there's no indicator that someone's been knocked down, as far as I can tell. I couldn't see any indicator that's like, hey, you should go save your teammate, or no audio cue that's like, I'm down.
Help me. I'm hurt. I mean, like, that's something that I'm interested in seeing this game. I won't be seeing it at PAX because, again, like, I'm going to be taking some time to see some stuff, and I have some stuff to share as well on this. But
you're a working man.
But that's not something, like, I mean, when, at least for me going to PAX and, like, if I'm having a limited amount of time, it's more about going to check out those indie games where I can just kind of roll up to the booth, see something really cool, talk to someone that's making something really interesting, and kind of have this compact experience in 5 minutes, you know. And as you're going for the 4 days, you have time to do a lot of that. So I think, like, if I had time, I definitely would check the game out. But it's interesting with it being delayed, how it's going to affect the game. And I don't think that that's a bad thing. I think it's just Ubisoft kind of looking at what happened to them last time around and understanding that they do need to play with caution in regards to their games that are coming out. I think that people are still, you know, obviously interested in Ubisoft titles, and there's a lot of cool Ubisoft games still coming in the future, but there was that damage done, and they're probably playing it safe in regards to that. So even if that hurts, like we said, that October to December jump, right, of like, what is the market December 1st when this game comes out, especially with, you know, even Just Cause and Hitman in that same area.
Yeah.
And on top of the fact that people are already going to be playing all these other first-person shooters this fall. There's an audience for Rainbow Six, and they're going to come out, but even the game is different than what Rainbow Six has been in a lot of ways from the past as well.
Yeah, it is a lot more broken down. Like it is still a hardcore shooter, but it's not compared to what it used to be. I remember when I used to play the old Rainbow Six games for like Xbox, the original Xbox. I fucking sucked at them. Like they were impossible. And then like you played like Rainbow Six Vegas, and they were a little more straightforward, and like those were really fun. That's why I love the Rainbow Six series, is because of that terrorist hunt mode in Vegas too. So I think I'm still gonna pick it up. I'm still excited for it, but my hype has died down a little for that game, especially with so many other good games coming out this year.
And you guys had did it black screen on you?
Yeah, it crashed on us. So say what you will, it is a PAX demo, like it is a closed demo and everything like that, but a couple times like I got booted, and a couple people in my party got booted to the dash. We just failed to connect to parties. We had to restart a couple times, things like that.
What time did you guys play this at? Not that really matters, but was it like an early Friday demo?
Midday.
Okay, so this is something that, you know, I mean, say what you will, I don't know anything in regards to their setup, but it might have been, hopefully, something that might have been worked out, hopefully. You know. But at the same time, too, you're obviously trying to show off the game, so it's up to them to get that to a point where they feel like it's on the right foot, rather than, especially with the delay happening, that has to be very much like, hey, look at the game and look how well it's doing. Like, hey, it's being pushed back, but we're planning to have this game really ready to go. And I mean, that's just a public perception thing, but if the game's kind of not looking the greatest, and you know, I'm not speaking to the actual game, but if it's, you know, booting you and stuff like that, that's not, you know, to maybe someone that isn't as versed in what's going on or what a PAX demo is, that could just be like, oh man, this game's really busted.
Yeah, this game sucks.
Yeah, so hopefully, I mean, like, I'm still excited to see how that game turns out. But
and I got a beta code. We got beta codes for playing in the PAX beta, so we'll see how that comes. That beta is actually really soon. It's this month.
Okay, cool. Yeah, you guys gave me one of those as well, so I'll be able to hop in and check the game out as well.
Should be fun. Terrorists as a group.
Yeah, that's what you do in America, right?
Yeah.
That's
America.
I don't know how Canadian, so I assume these things, but. What else did you play that was of note the last couple days?
So one of the other big games I played was Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Yes, it's not Tomb Raider anymore. No. This is the sequel, but we don't put twos.
The fire rises.
We don't put twos. Like, this is the thing, right? Like, it's either that it's gonna have a semicolon, or we're gonna do something.
An umlaut.
Yeah, only umlauts now. Like, that's the way that games are gonna go in the future.
Yeah.
I need to write this down. This is important PR info I'm learning right now.
Just here's a notebook.
Oh, thank you. I'm gonna take this, and great for those. Well, I guess you are watching the video, but it's not gonna be showing me do this. I'm
you do hear the notebook pages flipping though.
Yeah. There we go.
So yeah, I played Rise of the Tomb Raider, which is it's more Tomb Raider. It looks really nice.
What was the demo? Was it like a frozen area, or was it like?
No, it's like the desert.
Okay.
So you're in a car, and then pretty much Laura's getting driven somewhere, and then she's like, "Why is this chopper following us?" And he's like, "I don't know. Don't worry about it." And then she's like, "You told someone," and he's like, "Yeah." And then they start shooting, and he's like, "They weren't supposed to shoot." And then the car flips, and Laura gets out, and she's like, "Ugh," and she's like over sexually moaning in pain, and then it explodes, and then she falls off a cliff. And then she's running across a bridge, and that bridge collapses. So it's still like this super, like, they just beat the shit out of Lara Croft. And like, she's always like screaming.
How many pulls went through her body in this demo?
0. That didn't happen, luckily.
Okay. That's a step up But that's what the game, like, to me, this game, like, I remember playing the first Tomb Raider and, like, being on the island and just, like, her going over the airplane and just being like, ah, like, all these weird, you know.
Yeah.
That's me doing a sexual noise with my
That's your
throat.
Laura Croft.
This is me with, like, 2 days of PAX talking and then doing something sexual. So, I mean, there's a good thing that my girlfriend's not here right now. She'd be very, very seduced, so to say the least.
I'm already very seduced.
You're wearing half a shirt right now.
I mean, it's a tank top, I'll call it.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a tank top 5 seconds ago, so.
So yeah, and they showed a little bit of the leveling system. Like, you remember how before there was like a survival leveling, you could level different parts. One of the things I noticed is, like, I was looking at these ruins and stuff, right? And as I did, my knowledge of the Greek alphabet leveled up. So I went to a certain ruin and I couldn't read it. And then I leveled it up and she's like, my Greek's not very good, but I'm picking up this.
I'm getting strange signals from this Greek on the wall.
Yeah, and I was like, it was dumb, but I really liked it for some reason.
No, I heard about that. I was like, that's really good. It's like, and people were like talking about it. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of like a dumb, awesome thing where it's like, yeah, I'm going to level my Greek.
Or it's
like
on phonics.
She just like has the Duolingo app and it just like does like a Solid Snake like 24 hours thing, but she's like going like just like saying the words out and stuff.
That's
like
the
that.
companion app, actually. You learn Greek.
It's not only a game; it's also a learning experience.
So yeah, and then the demo cuts. Like, there's a cutscene, and then you just pop behind cover and you shoot a dude in the face, and then you have to jump across all the shit, and Laura makes over sexualized moans again, and then it ends.
I'm interested to see, like, you know, one of the things that kind of pulled me out of that experience. I really enjoyed the Tomb Raider game, minus some things with the story that weren't to my taste. But the thing that was, like, story-wise, that maybe not the overarching story, but the, like, her specific story that kind of bothered me was when she kind of turned the corner from being, like, not Nathan Drake, like,
from being like a regular person.
Yeah, like, just being like, I'm dealing with these issues and stuff like that, and like to being like, I'm coming to get you, and throwing grenades and like having like flamethrowers and just being like
Arnold Schwarzenegger at the end of Commando.
Yeah, it just gets really like, it just flips the script, and that game started throwing enemies at you, and it's like,
she murders like hundreds of people by the end of that game.
Yeah, I mean, is his name Nathan Drake? I'm so tired.
Yeah, it's Nathan Drake.
Okay, the way I said it was very confused. Like, I wasn't sure of it. Yeah, it's very different because, like, Uncharted is, you know, this kind of popcorn flick. And, I mean, Tomb Raider is as well, but it goes more the serious route in the way that it kind of tells her origin story, right? Mm-hmm. So, for her to kind of turn the script, and even them in the trailers and stuff, like, being like, she's in therapy and stuff like that, it's like, I really like that whole angle that they're going for, but I feel like they kind of weren't really fulfilling it with the way that those like the fight encounters played out. Like, you kind of get what I mean? Like, it's kind of like they're going for something of the story, and because that they're going for it, makes me expect them to kind of honor a little bit more of the way that the game plays out fighting wise and stuff.
Yeah, especially there was animals you could fight in that game. Like, they could have had a little more of that and a little less like murder everyone you fucking see.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm not gonna pick it apart because honestly I really enjoyed the game, and you know, there are parts to it that I think, you know, going into the second one we're excited to see what there's gonna be there, but there's a definite like growth in the character's ability, and it could have been slowed down in some aspects to be something where, you know, she was struggling with more animal fights, and like it was very, but I think they're also going for like that action paced type of game as well, and when you take that away, when it's a little bit more slow, you have more methodical experience. Yeah. So yeah, so I'm going to kind of bring up a couple things that I saw. So for me, obviously working with some of the developers that are here this weekend, I've gotten to see some stuff, but I've also played some games that I was just really interested in seeing. And there's still some things that I really want to check out. And we're going to be doing probably a second one of these, or if not, a couple more as the weekend goes on. Yesterday was kind of, didn't have enough really to tangibly start talking about stuff, so we wanted to wait a day, but yeah, where I was at with seeing some stuff, we got a chance to check out some games at the Parlor Live, which is GameSpot's kind of place, so where they're doing some stuff for Giant Bomb as well. And there's a bunch of indie games from the Mega Booth there, so I got a chance to kind of check some of that stuff out after hours. And I played Below, which I've been excited for such a long time. And
looks great.
It looks absolutely beautiful. I got maybe like that was actually one of the few games that I played so far that I really got to kind of sink some time into. And visually, it's so beautiful. It's really, you know, as the trailers and stuff have shown, it's very drawn back, the actual camera. So your characters, there's a lot of scope there in the way that it looks. But I love the design of like the item systems that it has, and there seems to be a lot of mechanics put in place for it to be rewarding to find things, but also very challenging in the way the game plays. Because I was doing really well, I was getting through a lot of areas, but I got hit once.
And you bleed.
And I bleed, and it was interesting because I didn't know I bleed, and I had like a tiny injury, and at first I just started like going, okay, it's gonna stop, but it didn't stop. It kept draining, and I realized at the point when my hearts went down to like a quarter, or it's a single heart, but it went down to a quarter versus like a sliver. And I'm like, okay, what's wrong here? And I tried to like look through my menus, and I realized I could bandage myself up, and that fixed the problem. But it was really cool to see that that was an aspect of the game. So knowing now that there's going to, I can't speak to too much of all the aspects, but there's food that you can choose, there's water that you can choose, there's also like stuff that I assume make a campfire as well. So there seems to be stuff that you can collect over the game that are going to give you the opportunity to replenish a lot of things that your character has, on top of this fact that you're trying to go as deep as you can. And it's going to be a game where you die, you'll start back from the beginning, but they have, from what I understand, some sort of checkpointing going on in it so that you'll be able to still keep some of the stuff that you have.
Okay, yeah.
So, but visually, looks absolutely amazing.
I played the game a little bit. I went down like a couple levels, and a guy hit me, and I died. And I was like, oh, this is hard. And I put the controller down, because it's a very busy environment.
Yeah, well, you have like people playing Rock Band 4, screaming really bad, like karaoke. And then
yeah, I played Rock Band 4. I almost forgot about that.
Yeah, you did. Let's segment into that, because I mean, that's pretty much on everything about below, but that's something that, I mean, in theory, I didn't ask anybody, but in theory, I think it's going to be coming out later this year, fingers crossed. So I'd be really excited to kind of really
I'm definitely going to check that out.
Jump into
that game is hauntingly beautiful. Like, it's amazing looking. So yeah, I played Rock Band 4. So Harmonix did a thing where it's pretty much like a karaoke night for Rock Band. And some singer went up and just needed a couple people. So I'm like, I'll do this. I'll play guitar. And I haven't played a Rock Band or a Guitar Hero game in probably 3 years, something like that. Like, it's been a while. So I played guitar. I played expert because I just figured I'd played a bunch of Guitar Hero games, I'd be fine. I was a little rusty, but I kind of got the hang of it once I was into it. But that sure is more Guitar Hero. Like, it is a very Guitar Hero game. The soloing was a little different. So you have that note path where you can kind of play anything. But then it'll like just kind of have like the illusion of chords. It'll have like your two center buttons. And they won't be full buttons like it is on the regular roadmap. It'll be like kind of highlighted, which means that if you play that, like, you're gonna get extra points and it's gonna sound good for the solo. But if you don't, you can just kind of keep hitting that shit randomly, which is what I did. So yeah, I played that, and I'm excited, but also doesn't seem to be changing enough, which has me a little worried.
I mean, I think it's more they're going for the angle of being like, we're bringing it back.
Yeah.
And I think that has merit, but also in regards to this whole karaoke scenario, it was fun and exciting. But then when I realized that I was listening to strangers sing songs badly while I wasn't liquored up enough, like I had not drank enough to enjoy people that I didn't know singing songs in a shitty manner. Yeah. And I realized that karaoke is very much appreciated in the company of friends, specifically for a reason, because you had that emotional connection to them doing bad or really good at a song. But, you know, playing the game, it's one of those things for me where it's like, I want that back in my life. I want to be able to do that.
But I don't want to be the one who has to pay for it.
Yeah, I mean, like, I want a really, like, cool friend where I can go to his house, like you. Like, if you do that, like, that's super cool. But, like, I want to be able to walk away from it and, like, leave all that instruments and stuff in your place.
Not of, like, a bunch of plastic instruments.
Yeah, like, I have an apartment, and there's not a lot of space in there. Like, I don't want to have to look at Rock Band equipment. Like, that was, like, 13, 14-year-old me was down for that. Like, yeah, I'll have some Rock Band equipment in my bedroom. That'll look pretty cool. Yeah. Chicks will dig that.
Yeah, like, they'll know I'm a drummer.
Yeah, and I'll be like, hey, want to come over and watch me play the Beatles while I sing and play the bass? I'm pretty good at both. I'm playing a lot lately. And
like, you do some harmonies.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's 2 mics here if you want to join in. But I mean, it's okay. I can handle it myself. But like, that is something, like, as a teenager, it's like, yeah, I could have this crap in my room because you have a bunch of other crap in your room. And Rock Band instruments aren't crap, but you know what I mean, where it's just like
they're crap.
It's a visual thing as an adult where I'm like, I like a relatively clean space, and having like that there, just like it's like.
If I wanted the drum set, I would have to push my couch away.
Yeah.
Have the drum set, then I guess everyone else would have to fucking stand.
Yeah.
And then when I was done, I'd push my couch back, and I don't know, like there's actually nowhere to put the drums.
I don't know where the drums would live in my house.
I guess they'd go on my kitchen table because I don't eat there, but like that would look really fucking weird.
That's my drum case. I don't know. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at too, and that maybe speaks to where we're at more as people and less in regards to the game. But it's a funny thing to think about, where it's like, I think that this is almost more indicative of like, I don't know if it was us talking. I might have been with my coworkers, but I was chatting with at least somebody about the fact that it'd be nice if that like you went to a karaoke bar or even like a private one, and they give you the option to kind of like have songs that scored you, like had the pitches and stuff like that, like kind of gamify karaoke a little bit more.
Or like they should just have karaoke bars that have Rock Band.
Like, I'd be down for that.
I would totally be down for that.
One place has, like, I bet there is, but like for us that's not really a thing. But I mean, like I would totally go to that, like not every weekend or not every week, but like I'd be down for that. But yeah, it's more like that thing where I just kind of want to be able to do with friends while like I'm drinking, but also, having a good time, and then like that way, but not like it's the same way I felt when I was that younger, like 8 years ago or whatever it was when they first came out as well. Is that it was really fun when people were over, but by myself I had some fun sometimes, but also kind of just felt like, what am I, like.
When I was playing by myself, I was like, this is practicing for later when I play with real people.
I'm gonna look good.
Yeah, I wanted to impress people. Those girls that were coming over to do harmonies.
Yeah. That wasn't yet. That was when we were 16 and 17 or so. That was when Beatles came around.
Yeah.
And
But I was thinking ahead.
I know you were.
So, did you see the track list for this game, by the way?
I mean, I've just, like, this is my experience with the track list, is I've seen multiple announcements, and I click on them to see any songs I like, and then there might be, like, one or two where I'm like, I could sing that, I could be down for that, and the rest of them are like...
I feel like there's a lot of bands where I'm like, yeah, this band should be in a Rock Band game, and then I'm like, oh, but why would you pick that song?
I think the thing is that those bands were all... Yeah, and they're there, and I think you can already download them and have them part of your game, but then that's a matter of, like, well, how much access do you have, right? So they're adding more stuff. It's going to be more things for people that already own the game, and, like, with the stuff that you're able to get and put it into the game, it's going to add to it in general, I mean, if I can have Rock Band 1 and 2 on top of 4, that track list, and anything that had DLC-wise, like, I'm totally down for that. Like, that would be a really good, meaty set list to play around with.
Yeah.
But as it is right now, it's just, like, for myself, with, being just in general busy and only having so much time for video games in general, the idea of investing that much money into buying the whole set and also kind of living with that in my space, like I would want, it's like this weird feeling where I am down for it and I'm excited to try it and play it in some capacity, but I don't want to make that commitment.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I wanted to kind of tie back around to another indie game, and this one's one that I'm actually working with, so it's been really cool to see that it's been doing well. But guys from Stellar Jockeys have been showing off a game called Brigador,
which looks amazing.
Yeah, and it's been really cool because visually I've been able to see the game because they've been putting out trailers, and we've been working together trying to get that stuff set up for them in regards to PAX and all that. And yeah, it was visually striking. The soundtrack that they've had help worked, or the guy that was making the soundtrack made fantastic stuff for the game as well. So overall, like, I've just been super excited for this game. Wanted to get it in my hands, wanted to have that experience where I actually got to try it, and when putting it in there, playing the game for the first time, it totally clicked in a really, really awesome way. And for those that aren't familiar with what Brigador is, it's like this, the best way to describe it visually is it looks like 90s games that had like photorealistic objects in it, but like really 2015 HD style.
And it reminds me, I don't know if you've seen this. It reminds me of Evangelion, like in one of the first episodes when they first fight. There's like this really dark city that's very lit up and very like kind of not neon, but like very industrial, but also lit up. And I really loved the art style.
And it's top down. The actual like way that the camera is and how it looks. It's like top down kind of thing. Like not in this type of game style, but like Age of Empires in regards to the camera choice. But the actual game plays out like a tactical action game where you choose your loadout for your weapons. You choose the type of mech or tank or any of these crazy awesome vehicles that they've created. And you're going into essentially play out this contract where you're trying to collect as much money as you can, and you're going to get out of there alive, and you're trying to cash the check on that, where you have to go to the separate place, and in order to do that, you have to just like be a total dick and blow a bunch of people up. So pretty simple in that regard, but the actual abilities to kind of choose the way you want to play, what type of weapons, it is really varied, and I can see so much opportunities for this game to have like that replayability value. And just from the actual gameplay, the gameplay is so pure in a really fantastic way that I was already really sold on it as a visual thing and as like, you know, the music tied into it as well. But getting to play the gameplay, seeing how it was, and also the reaction, like seeing PC Gamer be really positive about it. I ran into Max Scoville on the show floor, just, you know, saying hi, but also being like, hey, you should definitely check it out. And he's like, yeah, it's fucking awesome. And like, hearing that reaction from people that, you know, are obviously really big in the industry, it's just been like, that's really sweet to see people are turning heads towards it, if you will.
I really liked it. Like so the environment in this game is completely destructible. Everything you see, you can blow up with your tank or your mech or whatever you're doing. And like one of the first things I did was shoot at some fucking crates, and they just kind of explode in this really neat way.
Yeah, everything's destructible in the game.
And then you see like little guys running away, and you just kind of can stomp on them. And like while I was playing this, one of the developers, Hugh, was behind me. He's like, stomp on them, stomp on them, stomp on them. And I was doing it, and it was super fun and like super energetic.
Yeah, there's something to be said about that. Just as a side note, when, you know, as a developer, when you're showing off a game, it's hard because it's like you're there for 4 or 5 days, but being enthusiastic, being really into it, really does help kind of sell the experience of what you're showing off for sure. But yeah, tying up kind of what I've seen, I got a chance also to play a game called Hob, which is coming from Runic Games. They worked on the Torchlight series previously to this. And Hob's actually something that kind of took me by surprise because I saw the visuals of the game before. When it got revealed earlier, is August, I believe, early August. They said 3 weeks ago when I talked to them this morning. And yeah, visually, I wasn't actually blown away by the trailer, but actually seeing it in person, it is so pretty in its actual style. It's got this, it's colorful and cartoony in its way, but almost has like this kind of, it almost looks like a painting in some ways.
Yeah.
Like
it reminds me of remember that Prince of Persia game that was cel shaded?
Yeah, like it's not. It's like if you had a cel shader like option, it's like if you turned it on 20,
really low.
Yeah, like it's just like a little dash of it. A little bit. Like you have like grass and there's like little areas where it's like, oh, that's a little it's a little tiny bit. And the game's a platformer. It definitely reminds me of other platformers from the PS2 era. Like that's kind of definitely coming back.
It's a very 3D action game, like a Ratchet and Clank or a Jax.
Coming back around for sure, but it's also pulled back camera, so you're kind of seeing your player from a third-person perspective that's quite a bit of ways away. But the thing that is interesting that I think you might actually like about this, because you haven't got a chance to play the game. I know you're kind of checking out. You're gonna see it, but
yeah, I saw a little bit of it. Didn't get to play.
The gameplay, the actual combat, reminds me a bit of Dark Souls, and that your head just turned and I saw your eyes like flicker, so I'm interested in sharing this with you. So first off, your character in the game, he or whatever type of creature he is, one hand is a very large hand, you know, is not lifting weights properly or what, I don't know what he's got going on, but yeah, I see that motion there, and you guys know what that motion is too. And the thing about the game is interesting. It's got like a big metal hand. He uses it to climb up around and, you know, get to where he needs to go on top of just jumping and stuff. But on top of that too, he also is able to use that in combat as a shield. And when you attack enemies, you actually press the R3 trigger to lock onto them. So you can have multiple enemies, but you have to lock on to a certain one. You can dodge the attacks if you want, but you can also use your shield if timed correctly to block the attacks as well. So you can kind of get this weird sense where it plays very similar to, you know, you playing a
Souls game.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not gonna sell that to anybody that way because I think that's a lost cause to go up that road. But like, in the actual way that the combat's designed, I can definitely see some aspects of the game that definitely pull from that, and that's a really cool thing to see that. It didn't seem overpoweringly hard in any way. It just seemed like they pulled some really neat parts of the combat.
It's not Dark Souls in the way that it's super hard and it's this super dense thing to get into, but like the actual mechanics of like dodging out of the way and getting ready to counter. And
it just wasn't really hack and slash combat. It was very methodical in a nice way.
And I really have to choose your moments.
I appreciate that quite a bit from what I played. So. Yeah. Is there anything you want to close up on before we shut this one down for now?
Not really. I think that covered our first 2 days.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah. And what I'm gonna say as well is we'll be doing some more going ahead as well. Yeah. Just kind of covering some stuff. For myself, I'm going to be checking out the Vive, or the Vive, or whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
And I'll get actually I won't get confirmation on this, but I'll be seeing Cloudhead Games Gallery. And I'll be checking out that first-person adventure game that's made for VR, so it'll be really cool to kind of see that. And I mean, I might be able to get some other stuff in, but we'll see how that plays out.
I think I'm gonna try and get all that VR in. I'm gonna try and get all that in one day.
We need the VR. We'll have a VR cast.
Yeah.
Because everybody else is gonna be doing it, so we have to be a part of it.
You'll only be able to watch it through VR.
Yeah, it's not. It won't be coming out for like 6 months, so it'll be too late.
Late 2016.
Yeah, so we'll let you know.
And yeah, I'm also hoping to play The Division and stuff tomorrow. So.
Yeah, I'm interested here with The Division. I saw the lines. Just a small note, interesting fact, or not interesting fact, but interesting thing is that this year seems to have some insane lines. And
3-hour line for The Division.
Yeah, and Titanfall was the worst thing that we had when we went a couple of years ago together as attendees, and that was like 2 hours or 2 hours. I think we had an hour and a half for ours, but they were saying it's about 2 hours long when we were actually waiting for it. So
and I did that twice.
Yeah, because you liked it so much.
At that time, Titanfall was great, and then it came out and it didn't expand much on that demo.
Fair enough. Well, thank you guys for listening, and stay tuned for more of our musings on PAX and all the good stuff.
Bye.